Hi guys, welcome back to another video on Next.js. In this particular video, I'm going to show you how to support multi-languages in your Next.js project. So this is a simple app that I have built and I don't want to spend too much time, but the configuration and the setup which I have done in this particular project is pretty much it. And you have to just follow this to support multi-languages in any kind of big applications. So you can see that this is the logo, and at the top you can add the drop down, but I have added these two buttons, and these are the texts. Okay, this is an image which I cannot change, but this is the text. So as we are going to change the languages, you can see that we are updating these texts based upon the languages. So this is en means English, fr means French. So if I click on that, and while I'm clicking on that, you can see that at the top we have this text which is also getting changed according to the language that we are selecting over here. So what happens is when we are going to load this page first time, it is going to detect your current system browser's default language. For example, in my system I'm using Chrome, then the default language of the Chrome will be automatically set over here. If it is English, it will be set over here. If it is French, it will be set over here. Okay, and then when it will be set, this is going to be automatically updated according to the browser's language. But I don't like my default browser language. I want to see this particular website in different language. For example, the default language was English, and I want to see this website in French. Now when I'm going to change this language, next time I'm going to open this web page in same browser in this particular system, it is not going to detect the browser language because I have changed my preferences. Now when I will going to refresh, it is going to choose my previously selected language, but not the default browser language. Okay, so this is the application which I'm going to build. One thing that I want to explain you guys, few months ago I created this particular video, add multi-language support in Next.js 15 project, and it is showing the same kind of functionality, but there is one different. In this particular application, I'm not appending any kind of route or the URL, but this video was showing you that how to support multi-languages by adding and changing the URL. For example, in order to support English, we must write /en. Okay, in order to support French, we must write fr, and after adding this string in the URL, we need to navigate to the profile page or the blog page or the settings page. So this URL is important, and this is what I showed you in that particular video which I created few months back. But I got requests from multiple viewers that please create a video to support multi languages and support internationalization in the project without changing the URL, without appending the en, fr strings in the URL. And you can add as much languages as you want, not just English or French. Okay, so now I've opened up VS Code with an empty folder. Let's create a new Next.js project. So npx create next app at latest dot, because I don't want to create a new folder inside this opened folder in VS Code. So it is going to ask me a few questions as always. TypeScript yes, ESLint yes, Tailwind CSS yes, source directory no, app router yes, turbo pack no for this app, no for import alias. Okay, so it's getting downloaded and initializing my Next.js project. Meanwhile it is getting initialized, I would just request you guys to subscribe my channel and like my video. It really encourages me to make more videos for you guys. And if you need any kind of development services, contact me on LinkedIn. I've given the link of my LinkedIn profile in the description of this video. So our project is created. Let me clear the terminal and let's try to run this project if everything is working fine. So it's running on localhost 3000. This is running already, that previous project that I showed you in the demo. So let's refresh this page. So now this is the default UI that Next.js provides us. So I want to keep the UI simpler so that I don't waste too much time in explaining you how to support multi-languages. So let's go to the page.tsx. So I'm going to remove everything that I have over here, and I'm going to add main tag, class name, and let's add flex colon gap 8, and items center. Okay, and let's close the main tag and let's add the double quotes over here. Okay, so now inside the main tag I'm going to add the image which was already added in this particular file, and after that I'm going to add these ol tags which were already here. I'm just adding these again. So let's add li and let's again close it with the ol. Okay, so like this. All right, so inside the li, let's try to add one code. Okay, and let's create another li and let's add some text. Okay, so let's save it. Now you can see that this is how the UI is looking like, and I'm going to modify these text from my localizations file. Okay, so right now you can see that it contains just this and it contains just this. But to make the navbar and bring it to the center, I'm going to open up the layout.tsx file. If you don't know anything about Next.js, you can just watch my Next.js playlist. So here in this particular layout file, I'm going to wrap these children inside another div. Let's add that and let's add a class name to it. So I'm going to add flex grow, flex items center, and justify center. Okay, and I'm going to wrap everything inside another div, and let's add a class name mx auto max width xl. So let's select using supermaven extension, which is an AI extension which helps me auto complete the code. So rather than max width screen xl, I'm going to write 6xl over here. Okay, and then flex colon and height screen. Okay, so let's save it, and above this particular div I'm going to add a navbar, and navbar is going to be a different component. So let's come over here and create a new component, and I'm going to name it navbar.tsx. Okay, and let's initialize it quickly. So this is the navbar, and I'm going to add a few things over here. So first of all, let's add the classes to it. I don't want to spend too much time explaining you how to write CSS, how to style this, because this is not the part of the tutorial. The purpose of it is, add multi-language support. Okay, so this, and then let's add one logo. Okay, but before that, let's go over here. Let's add bring that in from the navbar. Let's save it and let's go over here. You can see that it is at the center, and we can see this logo. Everything is looking pretty much fine, and now we need to show two buttons, en and fr. You can add your own languages as you want. Okay, so let's go to the navbar, and then inside below this h1 I'm going to add another div, and inside this div I'm going to add a button. So this is going to be a button, and it is going to contain en, and let's add another button, and this is going to contain fr. Okay, so let's see what we have here, en and fr. This is awesome. So I'm going to add the classes to it. So let's add this class to it, and then this class to it. Okay, so now I'm just checking and that it is going to be fr. So locale is not here. This is a simple state use state hook. Okay, so this is going to be a client side component. So let's bring that in. Use client. We cannot use use state or any other hook of React without making a component into client side. If you don't know, by default every component in Next.js is a server side component. We need to write this to make it render from the client side. Okay, so now I'm just making sure that if locale is en, then make it selected, and if locale is fr, then make it look like selected. Okay, now you can see that this is the UI. Currently it contains empty. The reason is that I'm not setting it up to any value, so it's not working. Nothing is working. It's neither en neither fr. All right, so our UI is done. Now it's time to configure our project with next-intl. This is an awesome package that helps us support multi languages. All right, so in the terminal I'm going to install next-intl. So let's hit enter and it is going to get installed. You will see it in the package.json file. Okay, so it is installed. Let's clear the terminal and you can see that it is added over here. So let's close that. Next thing we need to do, open the next config ts file. Okay, here I would like to import one thing. So this is going to be const create next-intl plugin require next-intl plugin. Okay, so if I hover over it, you can see that it is just a TypeScript error. So next-intl documentation suggests us to import this particular package using a require keyword whenever we use the ts or js extension in next config file. If we are using the mjs extension or mts extension, then we can go with this particular syntax, import this from this particular package. So this is a simple TypeScript error. I can simply go and disable for this particular line. Okay, but we are going to keep the suggestion of the next-intl documentation to import the package like this. Okay, now this has been done, and after this I'm going to actually create a new object of it with next-intl create this. Okay, no options added. Now we need to wrap everything of next configuration with this. Okay, now this configuration is done. Let's close it, and now we need to go and create a new folder inside it, and this is going to be i18n, and inside this I'm going to create a request.ts file. Okay, so now in this particular file I'm going to import few things. So import get request config from next-intl server, and we would be needing cookies later on when we are going to support. We need to detect the browser's default language, and whenever we change our preference against the browser default language, in that case we would need cookies to detect that which preference user actually selected. Okay, so now we have imported cookies, and after that let's export default get request config, and this is going to be an async because we will be needing cookies, because in latest Next.js version we need to fetch headers or cookies with await keyword. So this is the reason I'm adding async. Okay, so right now I'm not going to detect the cookies right now, but just need to make it working first of all. So I'm going to add locale equals to en first of all. Okay, so by default it is going to be an en, and then I'm going to return it with locale, and then I'm going to write messages, and this is going to be the await import, and then I'm going to use this character above your tab key on your keyboard. Okay, then I need to actually load the messages files. So before let's leave it this file opened, and in this particular project I'm going to create messages folder, and inside the messages folder I need to create as much files as we need languages. Okay, so for example, if we need the English, we can create en.json. If we need French, we can create fr.json. If we need German, we can create de.json. So now inside it we need to create the constants of strings. Okay, so inside the en we can have tab titles, and then I'm going to add the values. For example, the tab title is going to be the create next tab. This is the tab title. Tab titles is the browser tab title, which I showed you that after changing the language, I'm changing the language in the browser title as well. So this is what I am naming it, and this is the value of it. Okay, so now after that I can have home page, and this is going to be an object. So I'm going to write list1. So list1, list2 are these things, list1, list2. So I'm just adding the text over here, which I need to show over there. So get started by editing. Okay, and this file is already added over here. Okay, so this is not going to be like changed with the language, because this is the exact file we have over here, page.tsx. Okay, and then we can have list2. Okay, so these are the text which I have added, and I need to use these keywords to actually show these values. So let me copy these. In fact, I'm going to copy the same kind of object in my fr.json. You can see that the keys are same. It is very important. So if you are using multiple files for multiple languages in your project, make sure the keys are same, because this is how we are going to show the values. Only the values needs to be different. I just used Google Translator to convert this English into French, and I've just added this object just like this. So the structure and the keys are same, only the values are different. Okay, so now I'm going to close these. So here we have this structure. So now import needs to be from messages. So messages locale JSON. Okay, and this is not going to be this thing. This is going to be parentheses, not the curly braces, and it needs to be end with the parentheses as well, and then default should be added at the end. All right, so for now we are done with this file. I'll come back to this to use cookies. Whatever is stored in the cookies of the browser depends upon the user's preference, what he has selected after first time opening the web page. Okay, obviously first time it will be default browser language, but next time we should detect the user preference. Okay, so now we have this request .ts. We have the messages, we have set up next configurations. Okay, so now inside the navbar we have to do most of the thing, because this contains changing the user preferences by clicking on this button. And here in this particular navbar, I'm going to actually detect browser language and set the default language in this particular state, whether it's en or fr. And also I need to update the cookies as well, so that it gets updated over here automatically. All right, so in this particular navbar, before actually moving further, one thing I forgot. So inside this layout.tsx file, I need to actually wrap everything inside the body with a provider provided by next-intl package. Okay, so let's come over here. So the package is next-intl provider, and then it is going to take the messages, and this contains this. We have to give the messages over here, which I yet need to create. Okay, so I've added. So let's go above this return. Okay, and then I'm going to write the messages equals to await get messages from next-intl server, and I will also be needing the locale. This is going to be await get locale from next-intl server, and this is giving me an error because I need to write async over here. And also I need to pass these messages inside it, and I need to pass this locale over here. All right, so let's close it, and that's it. And I'll come back to this when I need to update these titles, because when we need to change the title based upon different pages, I need to remove the metadata from here, and then I need to create dynamically these metadata in every page. This page.tsx file obviously is referring to the home page in Next.js. So let's go to the navbar, and inside the navbar, let's actually come over here, and then I'm going to first of all detect with the use effect. You know that this particular hook runs whenever component gets mounted, and this is going to be router, and I will also be needing the router because we actually need to refresh the page whenever the language gets detected. Okay, so this is going to be the use router. So I'm going to click on quick fix from next/navigation. Okay, so inside the use router, I need to first detect that if the locale exists. This is just simply a variable name. So I'm going to detect it with document dot cookie dot split like this, and then I'm going to find row arrow row dot start with, let's save it. So what is it doing is locale. So I need to change the variable very carefully. So my next app underscore locale. Okay, so there is a chance that in our browser any particular cookie with this name already exists because of some other website. Okay, so this has to be unique, so we need to use this particular key for setting the cookie only for this particular website. So otherwise it is going to throw an error if it is already existing in your browser by some other website. So this is the reason I know that this particular keyword does not exist in my browser. But you can add long cookie key like this. Now I'm just fetching the value of it by splitting it with the equal and then the second indexed value. Okay, once I got that, I need to check if the cookie locale exists. All right, if it exists, then I'm going to set the locale with this cookie locale value, whether it's English, French, Urdu, Arabic, German, whatever the language. And if it does not exist, then I'm going to detect the browser's default language. So now I'm going to write the Supermaven extension is quite awesome. So browser locale navigator dot language dot slice 0 2, and this is going to give me the default language set locale browser language. Okay, and then let's select that browser.cookie my next underscore locale equals to browser locale. I don't need to add the path after that. Okay, and then I'm going to add router.refresh over here. All right, so now let's run the project. I have not yet implemented a function on button click, but let's see if it automatically detects this particular key uh, and set the default browser language according to that. So let's refresh this, and this has to be changed, and now you can see that the UI of en is changed because this en language was detected in my browser. Okay, and let's add a function. When we click on any of these buttons, a function should be triggered. So now I'm going to add change locale, and Supermaven is suggesting me this thing. This is cool. So I'm passing the locale, set locale, new locale, cookie, the same value, new locale, router dot refresh, and that's it. And now I need to copy this function. Let's come back and on click change language en, and let's come over here, on click change language fr. So let's save it. Let's refresh. Okay, currently I just want to actually it will not work over here because I have not appended the values for these particular texts. Okay, But if I change fr, and now if I refresh this page, you can see that it remains fr because I've changed my preference, and it is not going inside this else block to change the browser language, because now this cookie exists in my cookies of the browser. Okay, so this is what I have done. Now let's use those keys which are added in en json and fr json in my, let's go to the page.tsx file, and this is where I need to use that. So inside the home component, I first need to write const t equals to use translation, and this is going to be from next-intl, and now I need to give it the keyword which I have added over here. So which first key I need to select, and using this key I will be able to use all of its further object values like list1, list2. Okay, so let's use the t, and before this I'm going to add so actually before code I can add t list1, and let's remove it, and list2. Okay, let's save it and let's see. Now you can see that get started by editing is added. This is coming in by the English language. Okay, although I've selected the FR. Okay, but this is not detecting because of the cookies. So I need to go to the request.ts, and inside it I need to detect those cookies now. So const cookies, await cookies, what is it suggesting? Await cookies. Now in Next.js 15 we need to use await to fetch the cookies. So dot get, and now I need to write this thing. So let's copy it and let's paste it over here. We don't need to write equals to question mark dot value, and if it does not exist, so default language will be en. Okay, and let's comment this out. So let's change the name, so cookie locale. Okay, now let's update the locale with the cookie locale. All right, so now let's save this particular file, and let's go over here. Now you can see that the fr is selected and this text is automatically gets updated, and when I'm going to select change the languages, separate files are going to be loaded for the whole application. If I click on fr, the fr.json file is going to be loaded. The keys are same, but the values is going to be used for that particular file, fr or en. And if I click on en, you will see that this has been changed. So wherever I'm using the keys, whether it's English or French, that is going to be used in our pages. So let's click on en. If I refresh this page, it will retain this value. If I click on fr, it will retain this value. Next time I'm going to navigate this particular page on this system and on this particular browser. Now one last thing is left is to update this tab language over here. This is the create next tab. If I am changing the language, you can see that it is getting updated. Let me zoom in. Yeah, you can see that it is getting updated, but this is not getting updated. Create next tab. And in Next.js, this metadata is coming in from this metadata in the layout file. So all the routes will be using this title, create next tab, and the description. Okay, let me show you one thing. Let's close these things. So inside this particular page.tsx file, you can see that I'm using this translation. This is a server component because I'm not using use client. So the same kind of configuration works in the client components as well. I can simply convert this component to be rendered on the client side, use client, and inside here let's refresh, and you can see that it is still working. So it means that the same configurations are working on both clients and server components. Now let's come back to the point. I want to support multi languages in the browser tab. So first of all, I'm going to comment this out over here from the layout.tsx file, because I don't want to use it for every route. I want to manually create the metadata within the these routes, depends upon which language is selected. Okay, so right now there is a pre-built function provided by Next.js, that is the generate metadata. So I'm going to write export async function and generate metadata, and we need to pass some properties inside it. Okay, so first of all, inside it I need to detect the locale. All right, and this is going to be of type params locale string, and we are able to get that because we passed this over here, locale. So params locale, we are able to get that. And now let me add these curly braces, and we need to detect all the messages. So here we have this tab on the home. We need to use this home key to show the title. This English file and this home key is showing create next tab, but in FR the same key is having different value. Obviously I use the translator to do that. So now inside it, first of all, let's get all the messages equals to await get messages, and this is going to be from next-intl server, and let's pass the locale. Okay, and we need to provide the type to it. So next-intl provide us abstract intl messages. All right, so now let's fetch the title equals to this is going to be the messages title and then the home, and then I need to return the title. All right, so now this is giving the error implicit of type any. So rather than using this way, I'm going to use tab titles and question mark dot home, and it must be showing this TypeScript error, so we can ignore that. So let's go over here and let's refresh that. So currently it is showing localhost 3000. So let's detect what is the mistake. We have this messages dot tab titles dot home. So let's see what we have here. Tab title. Okay, so this is tab title, but this is tab titles. So let's copy that and let's update this key and update this key. I'm making it plural because we will be having multiple pages in multiple big applications that you might be creating. So rather than home, we might have the about page, settings page, so we might want to add the values over here. Okay, and for page.tsx file, for every route we will be adding this particular function to support this. Now let's save it, and now you can see that in the browser tab we have create next tab because I'm selecting English. If I click on FR, this has been changed, so it's working now. So the languages are working on the browser tab and also on these pages. So wherever we might want to show the languages, we just need to create these particular files, en and fr or de or maybe other languages, and it will be automatically handled by this particular setup and configuration which I have shown you in this particular video. And then you just have to use the key which you want to use, and using that T, you can name anything. I'm just using T for translations, and then we can just load up a particular key inside that particular object, and for particular file value will be automatically visible on the UI. So that was it for this particular video, and I've shown you how to support multi languages without changing the URL. If you have learned something new, if you liked this video, make sure you subscribe my channel. I'll be making more videos in Next.js, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, guys. See you in the next video.